Residents of Khartoum woke up this morning to a declared ceasefire for Eid, which sounded like this. In Sudan, the holiday, which should have been exclusively focused on prayer, on celebration, was literally overshadowed by plumes of smoke.
My advice to these soldiers: stop this war. I swear that there are no winners here, just destruction, looting and robberies. We haven't enjoyed this Eid at all. Just sadness for the lost lives, the destruction. The children don't feel the happiness of the holiday. There are no smiles on their faces.
Parallel to the suffering of the Sudanese people, over 400 recorded dead and 3,500 injured, countries around Sudan are bracing for impact. The World Food Programme told us today that over 10,000 people have fled west across the border into Chad next door since this conflict erupted just a week ago. But they're preparing for multiples of that in the coming weeks.
We went to the border and we saw already more than 10,000 crossing. Those people are more or less the Sudanese that lives on the border. They're left with basically nothing. And now we are really expecting and being prepared for a second wave of people that are a little bit further away.
So over 10,000 people have already come across. Can I ask, how many refugees are you preparing for?
For now, we are preparing for another 100,000.
Chad already hosts some 400,000 refugees from Sudan. In the Darfur region of Sudan itself, there are 120 camps for internally displaced people from previous conflicts, many of whom are now on the move again. Sudan has borders with 7 African countries, all either in the throes of their own internal conflict or with a vested interest in the outcome of what's happening in Sudan. Egypt, for example, has close ties with General al-Burhan's military. It's reaching out to both sides for a ceasefire, but unlikely to stand by if it looks like Sudan's armed forces are facing defeat. Then there's Libya. CNN are reporting that the Russian mercenary group Wagner are flying weapons via Libya, destined for the other side in Sudan, the Rapid Support Forces. Not to mention the Central African Republic, Eritrea, and of course South Sudan, which seceded 12 years ago, taking the lion's share of Khartoum's oil resources with it. Finally, Chad, which could be about to see tens of thousands of new refugees on their way there. In our globalised world, conflict rarely stays local. Already this year there's been a 300% increase in the numbers of migrants and refugees crossing the Mediterranean compared to the same period last year. Governments in Europe who want to stop the boats have their work cut out for them this summer.